Welcome to Curiosity Naps. Tonight, let's drift into the realm of time travel, a concept that has fascinated scientists, writers, and dreamers for centuries. Imagine, if you will, the ability to step into a machine, press a button, and find yourself in another era. Perhaps you'd visit the distant past to witness the construction of the pyramids or travel to the far future to see humanity's greatest achievements. But what if time travel isn't as simple as it seems? What if the very act of traveling through time could unravel the fabric of reality itself? Tonight, we'll explore one of the most intriguing puzzles of time travel, the grandfather paradox. So, close your eyes, relax, and let your mind wander through the mysteries of time. What is the grandfather paradox? The grandfather paradox is a thought experiment that challenges the possibility of time travel. It goes like this: imagine you have a time machine. You travel back in time to a moment before your grandfather had children. For whatever reason, you decide to prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. If you succeed, your grandfather never has children, which means your parent is never born. And if your parent is never born, then neither are you. But if you were never born, how could you have traveled back in time to alter the past in the first place? This is the paradox. It creates a loop of cause and effect that seems impossible to resolve. If you change the past, you erase the future that allowed you to make the change. But if the future is erased, how did you exist to make the change? It's a mind-bending puzzle that has puzzled philosophers and scientists for decades. The origins of the paradox, the grandfather paradox, was first introduced by the French science fiction writer René Barjavel in his 1943 novel Le Voyageur Imprudent, The Imprudent Traveler. In the story, the protagonist travels back in time and accidentally kills his own ancestor, creating a paradox that erases his existence. Since then, the paradox has become a staple of time travel stories, appearing in books, movies, and TV shows. It's a powerful narrative device because it forces us to confront the consequences of our actions and the fragility of the timeline. But the grandfather paradox isn't just a fictional concept. It's also a serious topic of discussion in physics and philosophy. Scientists have used it to explore the nature of time, causality, and the universe itself. Could time travel ever be possible? And if so, how would the universe handle paradoxes like this? The science of time travel. To understand the grandfather paradox, we need to dive into the science of time travel. Is it even possible? According to Einstein's theory of relativity, the answer might be yes, at least in theory. Einstein showed that time is not a fixed, universal constant. Instead, it's flexible, stretching and compressing depending on speed and gravity. This means that time can pass at different rates for different observers. For example, if you were to travel close to the speed of light or orbit a black hole, time would slow down for you relative to someone on Earth. This phenomenon, known as time dilation, has been experimentally confirmed using atomic clocks on airplanes and satellites. But time dilation isn't the same as time travel. To truly travel through time, we'd need a way to move backward as well as forward. One theoretical possibility is a wormhole, a tunnel through spacetime that connects two distant points. If a wormhole could be stabilized and traversed, it might allow for travel between different points in time as well as space. Another possibility involves closed time-like curves, or CTCs. These are paths through spacetime that loop back on themselves, allowing an object to return to its own past. CTCs are predicted by some solutions to Einstein's equations, but they require exotic conditions, such as negative energy or infinite density, which may not exist in the real world. So, while time travel is theoretically possible according to our current understanding of physics, it's far from practical. And even if we could build a time machine, we'd still have to contend with paradoxes like the grandfather paradox. Resolving the paradox: how might the universe resolve the grandfather paradox? Scientists and philosophers have proposed several intriguing solutions. 1. The self-consistency principle. One idea is that the universe is self-consistent. In other words, any action you take in the past must align with the future you came from. If you try to kill your grandfather, something will always prevent you from succeeding. Maybe your gun jams, or you miss the shot, or you have a sudden change of heart. The universe, in this view, has a kind of built-in safety mechanism that prevents paradoxes from occurring. This idea was popularized by physicist Igor Novikov, who argued that any event that could create a paradox is inherently impossible. The timeline is fixed, and any attempt to change it will ultimately fail. This means that free will might be an illusion when it comes to time travel. You can only do what you were always going to do. 2. The multiverse theory. Another possibility is that every time you travel to the past, you create a new, parallel universe. In this scenario, killing your grandfather doesn't erase your existence in the original timeline. Instead, it creates a new timeline where your grandfather dies, and you are never born. But the original timeline, where you were born and traveled back in time, still exists. This idea is rooted in the multiverse theory, which suggests that there are infinite parallel universes, each representing a different outcome of every possible event. Time travel, in this view, doesn't change the past. It just branches off into a new reality. 3. The predestination paradox. A third solution is the predestination paradox, which suggests that your actions in the past were always part of history. For example, if you travel back in time to save your grandfather from an accident, it turns out that you were always the one who saved him. Your presence in the past was already accounted for, and your actions don't change the timeline, they fulfill it. This idea is often used in time travel stories, where characters discover that their attempts to alter the past only bring about the events they were trying to prevent. It's a haunting reminder that the past, present, and future might be more interconnected than we realize. The philosophical implications. The grandfather paradox isn't just a scientific puzzle, it's also a philosophical one. It forces us to question the nature of free will, causality, and identity. If time travel were possible, would we have the power to change the past? Or are our actions predetermined, locked into a timeline that we can't escape? It also raises ethical questions. If you could travel back in time, should you? What if your actions, no matter how well-intentioned, had unintended consequences? The grandfather paradox reminds us that even the smallest changes can have profound effects, rippling through time in ways we can't predict. A thought experiment. Let's end with a thought experiment. Imagine you have a time machine, and you decide to travel back to the day your parents first met. You hide in the background, watching as they exchange their first words. For a moment, you consider intervening, maybe saying something that would bring them closer together or, conversely, driving them apart. But then you stop yourself. What if your actions change the course of history? What if you accidentally prevent your own existence? This is the essence of the grandfather paradox. It's a reminder that time is a delicate, intricate web, and every action we take is woven into its fabric. Whether or not time travel is possible, the paradox invites us to reflect on our place in the universe and the interconnectedness of all things. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the mysteries of time. If you enjoyed this exploration, let your mind drift into dreams, knowing that the universe is full of wonders waiting to be discovered. Until next time, this is Curiosity Naps, wishing you peaceful thoughts and restful sleep. Good night.